Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Rachael Schneider. Mrs. Rachael, how are you doing, ma?
I am doing well, sir. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to chat with you today.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachael. Firstly, you are an author. You are also a speaker and a CIO. Can you please, Mrs. Rachael, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mrs. Rachael?
Yes, so the name of my company is called Spirited Prosperity, and it has been developed in order to help more especially women, but of course all people, but women help them to recognize that we all have this superpower inside of us, which I refer to as the Holy Spirit. I want people to remember that we've been gifted with this. And I think too often in the course of our life, we forget that we've been gifted with this special gift. So I started it right after my husband died. And then I kind of had to put it on pause because my oldest son went down a different path, which included addiction and rehab and some other things. So I've recently just relaunched it. And my book, my memoir, releases in May. My husband died of Lou Gehrig's disease, which is ALS. You guys may know it as ALS. Over the world, it's called some different things, but it is a disease that there is no cause. They don't know what causes it, and they don't have a cure. And the lifespan is between 2 to 5 years. And everyone dies from it because your body self paralyzes. And your diaphragm is a muscle. And when you can't breathe, you die. So I was widowed at 49 with my two young boys. And so the story is now coming out 14 years later. My husband's been gone. And the book releases next May. And it correlates with National ALS Awareness Month here in the United States.
Oh, that is a very beautiful and a very touching one, Mrs. Rachel. And I also love the part you said every single person are given a specific gift, which one could probably, look for a way to also get and also look for a way to develop the gift he or she has brought through. And my heart definitely goes to your husband. It's definitely not easy to be a single mother. It's really, really tough. And I also, my heart also goes down to that place. And I would like to dive to books, Mrs. Rachel. I do not know. Have you written any book, Mrs. Rachel? Are you planning to write any book in the coming future, Mrs. Rachel?
Yes. So the book that's being released in May is the first part of a trilogy. I have the second book will detail the struggle that I had as a single mom of a young son. He was 14 when his dad died, and the subsequent years of addiction and rehabilitation. I think so many people are dealing with that, and it's so prevalent, and a lot of us don't know how to get the right kinds of help. So that is the second book. And then the third book will talk about the widower that I met after my husband died. He had lost his wife to breast cancer and was left with four little girls. We dated long distance for 10 years. We waited until all of our children got through high school. And then we got married 2 years ago in the Holy Land.
Oh, that's very, very powerful. I have to be honest, Mrs. Rachel. We do know that long distance relationship, we do know that it's definitely not easy because no touching, no, it's just only maybe like a video chat and stuff like that. It's definitely tough. And to have that way to get that communication and even being back together is really, really beautiful. And that is really massive. Thank you so much for those insights, Mrs. Rachel. I would like to dive to the point of tribe. We do know that tribe is like a community. It's like a group of people who are doing the same thing, who look out for each other, who try their best to do things that are definitely different from others. So I would like to dive to the point. What do you feel or what do you think tribe really means in today's world? And what do you think is the significance and how it has evolved over time, Mrs. Rachel?
So I think it's very hard to survive in the world without a tribe. We were not made to live alone. We were meant to be in community. And tribes have been existing since the beginning of time. And there's a reason for that because we all need that support and that guidance. And I think it's interesting because I think the way that men and women view tribes is different. Men go to tribes for different reasons. They need to prove themselves. They need to be strong. They need to achieve. Women seek tribes, I think, more of emotional support and direction and spiritual support. So I know that I think that the world experienced very unfortunately what happens when you don't have community. When we went through this global epidemic that we went through several years ago, we realized isolation created something that was not healthy, and it's not healthy for any of us. And I think people are still struggling today to come out of isolation because we made it okay to stay in your house and be in front of your TV or your computer or and so it's sad, but I think we're coming out of it, and community and tribe becomes even more so important because those are the people that get you. Those are the people that grow with you. Those are the people that have known you and are in your corner no matter what. So for me, I know tribe has just meant this core of female friends, particularly that I could count on. Not really even family. Tribe, it kind of goes outside of that. And there's that saying, it takes a village, right? Well, village could be tribe because it takes all of us in community working together, whether it's helping someone through a sickness or coping with death or whatever, or celebrating a marriage or whatever it might be. But tribe, for me, has always been important, and I think for all of us, like I said before, we weren't meant to be alone.
Completely agree, Mrs. Rachel. This life now is not a more of isolated area, which is making it difficult in the more of anxiety, depression we are having today. And also, I also like to agree with you in the area you said COVID. During that time of COVID, that was when I think the situation really started. A lot of people have to be in their home. They have to do every single thing in their home. Since that time, I think the world is still trying to heal from that time, and it is really, really causing a lot of things. Communities really, really fading due to those situations that happened during the time. So isolation is something that our body is not programmed to be. Our body like to be among people, to reason among people. I think that really helps the body on its own, so that when one feels down, one can look out for that other person, which is very, very important in one's life. Definitely, and I completely agree with you. And I would like to also ask the key element, for someone to choose a tribe, someone have to, definitely look at the key elements. What are the features I think are the best for me when joining a tribe or a community? So what do you think are the key elements that make a tribe truly supportive and empowering? And do you also feel like there are some common mistake people make when trying to join a tribe, Mrs. Rachel?
Oh, without a doubt. I think so. Let's start with the mistake first. I'll start with that part of the question first. I think that people get too eager and their expectations are too high. And what we know about being in a tribe, it's about relationship. I will share with you that when my husband was ill, I had a community of about 12 women from who ranged from someone working at a grocery store to a doctor to an interior designer to someone who provided senior housing. All of these women came together to support me in my caregiving and to take care of me while I was taking care of my husband. I didn't ask them to. They just saw the need, right? And that's the thing about being in a tribe. And I think sometimes you just can't force it. It's organic. That's part of it too that makes it so unique and real is that you don't just walk and say, I'm starting a tribe today. Do you want to join? That kind of, okay, I'm not saying it can't work, that absolutely could work. Maybe if you're on the playground and you're 5 years old saying, okay, let's be friends. But I think as we get older, what I found too is our tribes change. But what ultimately brings us together, it's because of a shared experience or shared support. We are united in a task, or usually I'd say it would be a task. Something brings us together. Someone's going through something and we are there to support them in some way, shape, or form. And I think that where we kind of get in, or where I have found myself getting into trouble sometimes, like I've relocated. And when you move a lot, you lose your physical
Yeah.
tribe, right? You lose them. You're not with the same people anymore in the same place. And so you're kind of like, okay, I need a new tribe. How do I do this? And what I found sometimes is when you move into a community, they're already established. And so you're the outsider, and and you know that, right? You know
Yeah.
that. And yet you kind of go, okay, but I need to find that new support. I need to find my new tribe. How do I do that? And a lot of times it can come through your children, it can come through your
Mm.
church, it can come through your work. There are other avenues that will, or common interests, whether it's gardening or cooking or whatever it might be. Um, but it takes time.
Mm.
And I think what we live in a very instantaneous society, right? We want it all now. We want it right now. Relationship doesn't usually work that way.
Mm.
It takes time, it takes intention, it takes effort. And so I think that that's one mistake we make, is thinking, oh, this is and this is all going to work out. You may find yourself joining a tribe and setting the expectation so high that I'm going to like everybody and everybody's going to agree on everything and we're all going to do things the same way. No, not really. You want that diversity. It's important, and it's important to be able to allow that in, for the shared experience and for the different points of view. You don't have to agree with everybody. It is important to be respectful. So that, I think, are the mistakes. But I think that knowing what you need, um, and being patient are some of the best things that you can do for yourself while you're waiting for your tribe to find you, or while you're trying to find them.
Exactly. Checking on it. And also, I also like to add to someone to know the type of tribe that is best for his or her. You understand? Getting to know the type of tribe that is the best for his or her, and staying more patient enough to get to build that relationship. It could take months, sometimes it could take years. But trying to maintain that patience to build that relationship. But the main thing is someone to make sure that he or she is in the right tribe he or she wants, then to build that relationship until they're strong enough to build that bond and to do things together. That is very, very important. Thank you so much for the insight, Mrs. Rachel. And also, I would like to dive to the point of toxicity. Toxicity. When communities start to get toxic, or when it starts to limit the growth of someone. That even probably goes back to checking the right community one should get into. But how do you think someone can recognize it? When tribe is becoming more toxic or limiting the growth, and do you feel the best answer is to exit the tribe and just get away, or do you think the person should look for a way, one way or the other? And also, I would like to dive to the point of areas and how one can exit that tribe if they want to exit the tribe. So, how do you think you can discuss more on that, Mrs. Rachel?
All right, well, here's what I'm going to tell you not to do. You do not need to stand up and make an announcement. I'm leaving the tribe. We don't need to do that. No, we do not. I'm leaving the tribe now. No, we don't need to do that. Um, it's a really interesting question, because sometimes, like I said earlier, relocation will physically move you. Something in your life may physically remove you from your tribe. And that means your relationship with them will change. The best way to know, or what I've found for me, is that when I am not, when this group or this tribe, when you feel like your energy has been sucked out of you, like you've gotten together for a meal or a gathering or an event, and you leave there, or even after a conversation, you're just like, I'm so drained. Why am I exhausted? Now, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen, it does, but when it happens on a consistent basis, when it's over and over again, and you're like, oh, do I have to go be with them again? Or, or somebody in the group starts chatting about the other one, and it's like, oh, da, 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 and da, 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 da. And it becomes a big, gossip fest rather than, okay, really. Now, I'm not saying these things don't happen, but when they start happening more frequently and consistently, and you're recognizing, wait a second, I had to pull myself out of one several years ago. Um, we would get together, the ladies would get together and play bunco, dice game, right? You might have heard of it, maybe not, but there may be a game that you play in your part of the world. The women get together, they eat, they drink, and they play cards or whatever it might be. And what I realized is that for 2 hours, all these women would do is complain about their husbands. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I am not coming here to complain about my husband. Not for 2 hours. You can tell me that you have an issue, and that will be, I'll see what I'll listen for a minute. But what I found is that I didn't want to complain about my husband. I didn't have anything to complain about. So guess what? And finally, so did I stand up and say I'm not coming back? No, I just wasn't available anymore. I just wasn't available. You just, your schedule gets full. Oh, thanks for inviting me, but I can't make it. And then eventually the invitations disappear, and you just kind of fade away. Um, that to me is, I just don't think you need to stand up and say I'm leaving because of this, and it doesn't, because here's the other thing. In a tribe, it's more than one person, right?
Yeah.
There may be people you still want to maintain relationship with. It may just be a couple of people within the tribe that are giving some energy when you guys are together, that just permeates the whole group and makes it just not a good experience. But there are probably some other people that you still want to stay connected to. So that's important to recognize as well. You don't have to lose everybody in the tribe.
Yeah, definitely. There will definitely be good ones that are there that are really, really impactful, doing great things that are there. There will definitely be people that are also doing the other side, which are making the tribe more toxic and more unhealthy towards each other. I definitely agree with that. And definitely I also agree with you in the area that you said one should not just say I want to exist. Someone can just gracefully leave. And if the we used to call it sometimes in my place, they used to call it vibe. If the energy is fading, then definitely that place might not really be the right place that person should be. And the person can just try to reschedule and just try to avoid it and see other places that would definitely work for him or her. Thank you so much for the insight, Mrs. Rachel. And lastly, Mrs. Rachel, there's a question I normally ask during the end of the show, Mrs. Rachel. From our forefathers, there are a lot of things that do exist during our forefathers' time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mrs. Rachel, what do you think that thing will be now?
That's a big question. The first thing that hits me is courtesy and respect. I grew up in a culture where you were courteous no matter what. You said, yes, ma'am, no, thank you, yes, sir, no, sir. I grew up respecting my elders. I grew up respecting other people's points of view. And no matter what is going on in this world of ours, you can't hear somebody just because they're yelling at you. Don't think that you can hear, they may be loud, but is their message actually coming through? No. What you say makes such a difference, but what you do how you do it and how you say it. And I think there's never an excuse for bad behavior
Mm.
ever. And so for me, that is the one thing that if I can just impart a little bit of that with every conversation that I have, a little more kindness, a little more gentleness, and see you as the person that God created you to be, that's what I would love to have more of in the world today.
Completely agree with you, Mrs. Rachel. We do not know what definitely caused this huge disrespect that is happening in the community today, but definitely respect is something that is very important because respect solves a lot of things. Even in my community, here, respect is very important. And when something like that is fading, it makes even the people that are meant to be controllable uncontrollable, and they could go to the other side to do what they personally like, which I'm not or might not be helpful to them. But when respect is there, oh, this person respects me. I don't want this to happen to this person. He's not someone like that. I won't let it happen. That is the value of respect that brings in stuff like that. They will want the best for the other person because they know he or she has that respect. We definitely hope that it definitely comes back and bring more values to the life we come for. And also, Mrs. Rachel, I want to also sincerely thank you for the opportunity and the time on speaking on tribe and also various things that people need to know on building a perfect community. Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachel.
You are so welcome. It has been my delight, and I just pray that your podcast continues to flourish, and blessings to you and your family on the other side of the world.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachel. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.